Time to start rolling. That's one word for it. And I have to remember I have a mic here. Oh, one thing after another. Hi there. Welcome once again to Cast Iron Wednesday, which is a tradition that quite a few of the smaller YouTube cooking channels have been doing every Wednesday for the past several years now, and that certainly includes this one. And thank you very much to everybody who's been kind enough to show up here on my channel tonight, whether it's for the first time or whether you've been here many times before, because I have been fortunate enough to be able to do this now, going on past 4 years now, even as hard as it is to believe. And yet things keep on rolling. Well, I guess that's probably because cast iron is forever, or so it seems. And as such, I can only again thank everybody who's been kind enough to be here tonight. Especially since we're really here to do some cooking and have some fun as always. And hello to everybody here in the chat, to Rocket Caver, and hello Ronald Coward and Radagast and William Hurt, Pat Z and Rudy. Rudy, I hate to with autism. Well, best of luck and congratulations to this chat. Congratulations and thank you very much for welcome here. Thank you for coming to this channel tonight. And Larry Perkins and Pip Gorn, Fuzzfork8 and RT Scott. JIR Finishes, and so many others. I see and MF Machining as well. Hello. Yes, hello to everybody who's been kind enough to show up tonight, because, this is what we do here on Wednesday nights. I really started this for the cooking, and for as far as I'm concerned, the cooking is still the main reason for this channel, and I can only hope people enjoy that, because I know that there are other channels that seem to be dedicated a lot more to just collecting and restoring cast iron, which I've done quite a fair amount as well, because I've got my collection and everything. But I'm here for the cooking, and that's why I wanted to do once again something a little bit different tonight, or at least different from me. Because I know some people have seafood just about every night. I'm really not one of those folks. I'm more the type of person who usually ends up cooking chicken and beef and chicken and hamburger and chicken and sausages and chicken and pork and some veggies and make a cake or two and chicken. You get the idea. So actually, it's been a while since I've had seafood, and it's been even longer since I've cooked seafood. And yes, I love the chaos of live cooking. Yeah, that is certainly turning out to be one of the reasons to visit this channel, isn't it? Because you never know what's going to happen here. I certainly don't. But that's one reason why we're doing a nice and easy seafood dish tonight. It's one of those ones that I saw that really caught my eye and said to myself, I gotta make this. And that again would be salmon. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry. Salmon en croute. Croute. That's right. Which is basically salmon wrapped in a puff pastry. So many people come across, and I'm not saying this about any person who's here. So many people come to, you see this video on the internet, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or wherever. It looks so good, and they all say to themselves, "I've got to make this," and not many of them ever do. But I certainly do want to be one of the ones who actually does try to make some of these wonderful videos that I see. Hello to Kimberly Miller, and yes, you're on time, and everyone is doing well. Oh yeah, interesting looking mic. I do agree there. This I think is maybe my third or fourth week using it. Actually, this is a Yeti mic, which folks who do regular production know that this should be indeed a high quality mic. So I'm actually quite pleased to be using it. I started using this a couple of weeks ago when the clip on my wireless mic broke. Not the mic itself, just the clip. And so I had to use this as a substitute. But folks said that the sound quality seemed to be as good, or maybe even better, than with the clip-on mic. And so, as such, I'm continuing to use this, at least for the time being. Yes, and hello, Corey Clark, and yeah, I'm glad to hear you folks can hear it. But as I mentioned, this really is not too difficult a dish as well, but it does give us an excuse to play with some cast iron in that we can start out. For I haven't even had a chance to do much prep work. I believe I've got to. Okay, although I think things are looking pretty good right now. I'm not even sure if I'm out of onions, but I think I might be. So we will just continue. All right, that means we get to move right away and take a look at some cast iron here tonight. Specifically, as it turns out, we're using a modern day cast iron pan again, and that would be the field skillet, field number 8 that was kind enough that a person here was actually kind enough to gift me, unasked for, mind you. But yes, oh good, it hasn't heated up as much yet. Main reason for choosing the field skillet tonight was because of a short video that I posted the other day, which seems to have really taken off on TikTok in particular, where it has over 100,000 views. I do not understand algorithms, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or whoever, because it seems like the video that I just do off the cuff without really intending, without expecting anybody at all to see it, just simply takes off and goes crazy. And that was the one I posted where I'm asked for people to provide examples of those polished cast iron skillets, the ones that some people have taken the time to polish to a mirror finish, and yet because they all because while it does Hello, test, test, test. Okay, no, test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. This one, fortunately, I did not unplug the cord at this time. It seems that this mic has a mute button and I accidentally hit it. All right. Okay, I'm not sure how far I got with my little rant there. Namely, I mentioned that the field skillet actually, in fact, does not have a glass smooth surface. Namely, that it has actually, it's been given a more of a concave surface with very small and hard to see grooves all over the surface in the manner that you might see on the old vinyl records. Honey Badger says now she can't hear. Okay, let me test it again. Testing. Sound okay? All right. Sorry about that. Well, when you move the mic, so yeah, exactly. That's because this mic has a mute button, and I can see I accidentally hit that. All right, don't hit the eject button yet. Tell me about it. Okay. Anyway, my point was that I got the field skillet especially to show a modern cast iron pan that many people think was polished to a mirror smooth surface, but in fact it's not. However, we can certainly get started. Nonetheless, I took a new large skillet rough surface that I could not get food to not stick to it and polished it smooth. It's now a usable pan and made a pan out of it. That is certainly your preference, and you can certainly do that because, of course, that's your cast iron. I mean, I have quite a few large skillets in my collection, and I have been using all of them with no difficulty at all. But nonetheless, okay, let's actually get started instead of just standing around here because we just need to start out with all right, all that looks good. There are a couple of things I am going to have to do first. One of which is to actually chop up a little bit of fresh dill. Actually, I could probably even do that after we've started cooking. So let's dig up our. Okay, here we go. All right, let's get started, shall we? Just simply toss some olive oil into the pan. Maybe I should use butter, in fact. What a thought. And that's what I mean. I was a little behind on my prep work tonight, unfortunately. So let's dig out a couple of utensils. And we'll start by throwing some garlic in. Actually, I just realized I did goof because, yeah, I should probably chop up these capers, I think. Okay, my bad. It looks like I do have a little bit of prep work I need to do, and I do apologize for that. As I said, unfortunately, I had something of a, tonight was, I kind of like ran into a situation that kept me busy before before this live came on, and so as a result, I wasn't able to do as much of my prep work as I'd like. However, we do want to start with some capers, so let me drain some of the water on these things. Let's move the mic back over. Let's move the mic back over here. Good grief. All right. Okay. And what a fun day so far. All right. That means now we get to do just a little bit of chopping. It's not going as smoothly as I would have liked. Dig up a dish. Doing this live for 4 years, but I swear some folks certainly wouldn't know it. All right, let's dig out some of these capers here. That's probably enough. And just very quickly do a little bit of chopping up. We don't need to do very much. I mean, these things are small anyway. So that's one. Oh, great. just stabbed the mic. How nice. And this, let's dig out. Got my scraper. This is supposed to be like a pastry cutter, but having a scraper for pretty much anything that you've chopped is extremely useful. Highly recommend a tool like this, that's for sure. And to that, cover these capers back up. The other thing I need to chop up is a little bit of fresh dill. Because dill is one of the crucial ingredients of this particular dish. Okay. Oh man, you can tell it's fresh because it's pretty strong too. All right. This weekend. So far, so good. Okay, at long last. Now let's head back to the pan again. Bring the mic back over. Try not to hit the mute button this time. Also, try not to undo the cord. That would be a good thing too. And at long last, this is actually going to be fairly easy anyway. Okay, we got oh, where the heck? There it is. All right. All we need to do is start by throwing a little bit of garlic into the pan. There. And stir it around so it doesn't burn. And that's the thing, you can feel the grooves on this when you move this across the pan. This only takes a few seconds, especially with a hot cast iron pan. That means for this, let's throw in about a tablespoon of butter. Do it quickly before, there we go, before the garlic burns. Oh, there we go again. Guess what else I forgot to do tonight? That's what I get for not having the chance to do my prep work. I really hope I haven't burned this garlic too. It's only taken a few seconds, but that's the difference. Although the butter smells good, I'll say that much. All right, let me turn this heat down a little bit. Okay, to this. All right, here comes the one of the crucial ingredients. And that would be fresh spinach. Lovely thing about spinach is the way it shrinks. This is a 10-inch pan. And by the time this is done, I've little doubt that there will be more than enough room in this pan for the spinach. While we're doing it, Amber, this guy is not professional. You think? What makes you think that, I wonder? I mean, after all, I've only been saying that pretty much every time I do cooking here. I am not professional. I am not a professional chef. Will never be a professional chef. I have little doubt about that. I'm just a guy who really does this as a hobby because it's fun. Also, excuse me, about to sneeze. Also, as I mentioned, I had unfortunately something something took place a little earlier that did not allow me to do the prep work before this live video started, unfortunately. I would have much preferred to have had my prep work done much more in advance than it turned out to be. All right, so far so good. In fact, I probably should have even chopped up the spinach. So we will just have to make do. Oh yeah, and there's a nice thing about using a metal pan like this. There's no way you could do something like this with a nonstick pan, is there? Absolutely not. Anyway. Okay, so we've pretty much taken care of the spinach. And you know what? Just to be safe, I think I'll throw in probably a little bit more. Now that there's room. There we go. Anyway, this is wilting very fast, which is good. Trying to mix this in with the garlic. I am not smelling any burn smell, so fortunately I did not burn the garlic, thank goodness. All I did was toast it. I was actually a little bit concerned about that. Corey hasn't taken the time. Okay, what's the verdict on how it holds seasoning? Are you referring to the field skillet? Well, so far the field skillet has done pretty good. I'm still using the factory seasoning. I have not yet taken the time to add more seasoning onto this pan. I do plan on doing a little seasoning of some of my vintage cast iron this weekend, including the BS&R fish fryer. But so far, this field skillet has held up nicely, and I'm quite happy with that. I know that there are some folks as well who see that when they first use a brand new modern day cast iron skillet, the seasoning tends to wear off very fast. That's one reason why, of course, you've got to use the type of, at least initially, use the type of ingredients and foods in your cast iron that will help to build up the seasoning, namely a lot of greasy stuff. Greasy kid stuff, I believe they used to call it. Anyway, there is a start. Now to this. All right, from here is where we add that dill that we chopped up. Oh man, and boy, can I smell that too. That's for sure. And to this, we also throw in those capers. So, those are looking okay. So far, so good. Good start. What's for dinner tonight? Well, so far we have spinach flavored with capers, dill, and some garlic. And to this, we are about to throw in some cream cheese. As soon as I can get this package open, that is. One thing about cream cheese as well, the package is like always so much fun. Oh, there we go. That actually turned out to be a little easier than I feared. All right, so far so good. Cream cheese. Now we can just melt this all down into a sauce that we'll be using to coat our salmon. Hello, friend stopped by. And right now I'm making a sauce which has cream cheese and spinach and fresh dill along with some capers. All right. And really, this is actually turning out to be a very easy dish because after this, all we have to do is to lay out the salmon and coat this. Once this sauce it liquefies and then thickens. Because this is not a soup. Again, this is something that we're going to be spreading over the salmon. Take the stems off. I actually did my best to remove the stems quickly, I will say that. Nonetheless, I don't think this is turning out too badly. And for the record, I only have this cast iron pan on medium heat. So far, so good. All right, this is going to be nice and thick too, which is what we want. I don't want something that you pour over it. I want something that will be able to stick. So this is probably all we need to do. How did you make the cream cheese? Oh, I bought it at the store. That's how. I have not yet had cream cheese or pretty much anything except for butter. I have not really attempted to make myself, unfortunately. I have made butter a couple of times using my stand mixer, because that was nice and easy. There's no difficulty with that. I've also made dulce de leche and caramel, but I have not yet made cream cheese. There's so many things out there that I have not done, and that's why I'm likely going to be continuing this cooking stuff for pretty much the rest of my life. Because, yeah, I would love to be able to do things like make cheese or cream cheese. I have made homemade dill pickles, yes. Okay, all right. Started seasoning a padol pan from Mexico. I'm not familiar with the name, Mark. Although, are you talking about a regular skillet, perhaps, or maybe are you talking about a kamal? I'm not sure yet. Either way, that actually is. This was probably the most difficult part. Namely preparing the sauce, and let me take this off the heat now so that it doesn't burn. And then from here, we get to move on to the next step, which is actually also very easy. Move this over a little bit if possible. Oh, that's the one. That's the one I needed to do. There we go. So far, so good. Because now we get to take out another cast iron pan. This one is the Lodge cast iron casserole pan that they only came out a few years ago with their bakeware series. This was another one that I was fortunate enough to receive as a Christmas present, so I am certainly happy to be able to get some use out of that. That, all we're going to do is lay out some puff pastry. Get this thing open, that is. There we go. And this is going to be small enough that I'd say that of this package of 2 sheets of puff pastry, I probably only need this one. figure this should be big enough. Because to this, we just simply need to break out. Now that we've done it, now it's time. Where the heck? There it is. It's here in the back of the fridge. All right. Which is good because this is fresh fish. Well, reasonably fresh fish. Packaged, but still salmon. All right. And I'm not even sure how to get this out of the package. Show you how often I've made salmon, unfortunately, which is a shame because I love salmon. What I really love is swordfish, and my good grief, I just realized I don't think I've had swordfish in at least a couple of decades. That's something I'm really going to have to remedy as soon as possible. Anyway, is this big enough? You know what? I think it's big enough. I could probably even fit the whole thing in here. Make it nice and simple that way. Although it looks like this comes in pieces, which actually is even better. Here's some more. I'm wondering if maybe, let me see, since I'm supposed to do it this way, I think I will slice it down here. Oh, my bad, I just used my finger to point as I chop this. Okay. Looks like I may have to use both of those sheets of puff pastry after all. Well, that's not really a problem. It just means this is going to be nice and big. All right, however, now that I've done that, I have one more step to do. Might as well use the same dish as the that I used for the dill, and that is we need to break out an egg wash. All right, here's the egg. So for the person who said this person is not a professional, I can only agree with you on that. Nonetheless, at least I've learned a few things over the years, such as cracking an egg. All right. Let's get this. Oh, great. I got the mic over here, too. Sorry about that. That's another thing I still need to get used to, namely that having the mic in both, moving the mic when I change my perspective here. All right. Looks like there's enough of this sauce that I may be able to layer both sides, and so I'm actually quite happy with that. I should, in fact, have I should not have put the salmon in yet. My bad. So let's take some of this paper here. This was entirely my fault. Let's take this out just for the moment. Because what I should have done is put some of the sauce on the underside here. That was my bad. There we go. That's better. Now we can put this salmon back out here, and here, and here. Now, finally, to this, we'll wash my hands. Of course, because I'm doing all this live, this is actually probably making it look more difficult than it actually is because I'm rushing around here trying to accomplish. Oh, I goofed. Into the sauce, I completely forgot to add the lemon. All right, well then in that case, we will have to bake it. Ah, okay. In that case, I will just have to great lemon juice instead. Oh man, that's the other thing about lemon juice. It tends to nuts. All right. Let me do this quickly. Where the heck is it? All right. I know I have this in here somewhere. Well, actually, maybe this will do. Come on, grab this good. Did that work? No, it did not. Okay, so that didn't work. I know I've got my. This should do. All right. Oh, come on. I could have sworn these kitchen shears had like I have to dig out a wrench just for this thing? Oh, man. Something always seems to happen like this on these blasted live videos. For the love of... Oh, okay. Well, that's one way to do it. I won't say any more. All right. But to this, which I should have added to the sauce, but I completely forgot. On the other hand, just simply putting a little bit of lemon juice on the top should be more than sufficient. Now, thank you very much for your help. Next, let's finally mix us up an egg wash. And I've got to do this, of course, without spilling this all over the place, not just because I'm holding it in my hand, but because I chose to use a shallow dish instead of a deeper bowl. Well, at this point, all we need is a little bit of patience here. There we go. As I said, I mean, this is really not difficult. I'm just making it look more difficult, which shows you once again that I am not a professional. But to this, all we need to do now is paint our egg wash all around the sides. And fortunately, I am not going to forget to put the other layer of the sauce on the top. Because that is definitely something that I would probably do. There we go. Flip it. Oh, I already did actually. I put that over on the bottom. So at least I did remember that. However, here comes the rest of the sauce. Finally. There we go. So this is a spinach cream sauce flavored with dill, no less. Oh yes, I already actually I laid the sauce. I'm saying I did put it on the bottom. Okay. All right, so far so good. Now I realize I've got one more thing. I just hope the next layer of puff pastry is thick enough or wide enough. I hope I didn't make this too thick. But there's only one way to find out. Okay, I already did lay the.
No, I want all the sauce and everything all over the meat, everything.
I already laid the sauce out on the bottom before. Don't worry. Before I laid the puff, before I put the egg wash on top. Now for this, finally. It looks like it's actually working. Thank goodness. I was worried about that. Press all this down. There we go. Thank goodness. Now to this, a little bit more. And into a shallow pan like this, I hope I have room, trying to make it look fancy. There we go. So in fact, I probably should have laid it out on a bigger dish than this. Unfortunately, as I said, my BSNR fish fryer is out. Currently, it's in the lye tank, and I need to season. I need to season that this coming weekend. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the view was that bad. I very much apologize for that, but there we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Okay. Here we go. So far, so good. Finally, for all this, okay, and where's my knife? Here's my knife. Very lightly score the top. Very lightly, that is, because I don't want to split it open. And then the last thing, a little more egg wash on the top. Not bad for only one egg. There's plenty of egg wash here. Oops, great. I hope I didn't just ruin it by spilling it on it there like that. Let's move this all around. Might actually be a little too much now. Something always happens. Just spread it around. In fact, this side, probably even a little bit of paper towel, because I don't want there to be too much. All right, so there we are. Oh, yes. And despite the poor camera angle beforehand, I believe we have it. Haddock is one of my favorite dish, but it has to be very fresh. I think I prefer freshwater fish anywho. All right, you're saying, okay, we drove past our local fishmonger today. They were getting ready to close. Ooh, well, I'm hoping you just mean because it was that time of the day. Beef Wellington for an upcoming event. This is actually more like a salmon Wellington, but yeah, it's the same idea. Definitely. In fact, I understand this dish, salmon au croute, has been called the beef Wellington of the sea, in fact. Cream cheese and puffer fish. Well, cream cheese and salmon, anyway. So salmon is not as expensive as beef tenderloin, which is good. All right, it was also the password in the Marx Brothers movie. My daughter gave me that same pan for Father's Day, and I haven't used it yet. Now I know what to make with it. Yes, as you can see, besides a casserole dish, this large pan here does make a good baking dish, especially for something like this. All right, too much work. Okay. Need clean. Swordfish is the password in Zork. Oh yeah, I remember Zork, and I also remember plug and XYZZY. All right. Well, it is actually store-bought pastry. Yes, that is yet another thing I have not yet had the. I have not yet attempted to make. I have not yet attempted to make my own puff pastry because, yeah, I have seen videos of that where you actually have to layer it like about 8 or 9 times, and I have not yet had the patience to do that. On the other hand, rather than just simply wait here. Yeah, tenderloin isn't worth the price. Rather than just waiting here, I'd say it would be time to get this into the oven. So let's do that. The oven is 375 degrees. And in we go. Well, what we have in here, by the way, is the large pizza pan. Okay, but there we go. All right, now we're supposed to heat this. The recipe I chose was smart in that you're actually rather than cooking it to time, we're doing what we're supposed to do, and we cook it to temperature, meaning that in like about I'd say probably about 20 minutes or so, I'll start checking the temperature of this so that we can be sure that it reaches at least 130 degrees or maybe 140. Because, of course, we don't want the fish to be overcooked, and yet at the same time, we don't want it to be undercooked. But it is fish. So, of course, right now it's underneath a thick coating of sauce and pastry. So it will take a little time to heat up. The oven, though, is 375 degrees, which is pretty hot. And so that's why I'm guessing 20 to 30 minutes. Well, we will certainly find out. That's for sure. My large pizza pan lives in my oven. Yes, exactly. Because not only is it good there for making pizza, but it's also a good heating dish. This is a trick, yet another trick I saw and have been using in that when you're baking in the oven, you can take your cast iron pan, preheat that in the oven, and then place your baking pan on top of that to actually help heat the bottom and give it a little bit more heat for that kind. You may have some cheaper cut like a chuck roast and then low and slow till it falls apart, or maybe short ribs. If I do have tenderloin, I prefer it chopped up into tartare. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about beef tenderloin, yes, because beef tenderloin is indeed incredibly expensive, even more so than a prime rib. And to be honest, I have never had tenderloin for precisely that reason. On the other hand, I have followed some of those other videos that do the Wellington and use all other kinds of meat. In fact, I myself have made a ground beef Wellington, a hamburger Wellington, and that turned out wonderful, if I may say so. But the main reason for that was because not only was it the ground beef, but I made sure to make the mushroom duxelle that goes with a Wellington, because the duxelle is also wonderful. And if you're going to make a Wellington, you really don't want to skip the duxelle. Many of these viral cooking videos that show a Wellington skip the duxelle, and they shouldn't. It's not hard to make, and the taste is great. All right. Likewise, as well, one other option is instead of using beef to make your Wellington, you can use pork. You just simply take a pork loin, and you can make a Wellington out of that, which is, again, much less expensive than beef tenderloin, that's for sure. Did you clean the aluminum pot you got at Brimfield yet? I have to be honest, I have not had a chance to yet. This weekend, I'm doing some seasoning of my cast iron. That would probably be the best time, I think, to make an attempt to clean that aluminum pot, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. My favorite steak is prime rib. Well, yes, prime rib certainly tastes good, and it may even be worth the price, just like ribeye would be as well. And there's yet another thing a couple of times I have indeed cooked prime rib, and I have videos of that. Though one thing I have not yet had a chance to make is a tomahawk steak. And that is yet another thing on my short list for some time in the future. Probably when the right time comes for it. Maybe after the election, who knows? But Reed, I really like Chuck. Okay. I like to make pie crust from scratch, but I've never made puff pastry. Yes, puff pastry is different from pie crust. Pie crust is easy to make. I've made many pie crusts of different kinds. Apple pie crust, pecan pie crust, pumpkin pie crust. And yes, because even though the pie crusts, they're not exactly interchangeable, but those are different consistencies and different tastes to those pie crusts, and they do good with different kinds of different flavors of pies too. That's for sure. All right. What I was about to say that Chuck Eye. Oh yeah, my kitten Peppercorn just brought me her collar. She took it off and brought it to her. Brought it to me. Oh yeah, your kitten is much nicer than my cat was. That's for sure. When my cats, when I first tried putting collars on my cats, they had them off in 5 minutes. Well, they actually didn't, but rather they managed to get the collar off enough so that it caught in their mouths, so that their mouths were stuck on it, and that meant I had to remove those collars immediately. See, and that took less than 5 minutes. I made three separate attempts to put collars on the cats, and every single time they had it like that within 5 minutes. So almost. I went for about a year and a half before I finally got an old-fashioned leather collar and put it on Miss Mobley. And so far, it is still on her. She hasn't choked or anything like that, but just as important, she has not been able to get the collar off. I do understand the safety concern of having these expandable collars, especially the ones with the breakaway tabs, but really, my cats were too smart for those collars, so that's why I had to go for the old-fashioned. I don't find round steak anymore. It's the cut you used to see in cartoons, hot and quick, and it's great. I'm thinking about trying to make phyllo or phyllo. Well, best of luck with that. As I mentioned, I have not yet made an attempt yet to make phyllo, but that would really probably be an all-day project, I would think. All right. So anyway, but yeah, I know it's only been in the oven for a few minutes, and we do still have a ways to go. I'm hoping, nonetheless, that this may be starting to brown, especially with that egg wash on it. So far, there hasn't been too much of a change, but then again, as I said, I just have to be patient. And besides, um, 375 is definitely hot, but yet not too hot because, again, we don't want to burn it and we do want to thoroughly cook it on the inside as well as the out. So it's just a matter of being patient, that's for sure. My Henry cat would only wear a red collar. Any other collar was gone in an NYC minute. It sounds like you've got yourself a nice, clever cat there, too. All right, looking through the comments, I do want to make sure I didn't miss anything, especially the ones laughing at my attempts at putting this pastry together here. Jim F. Hello, Jim F. Late again. Car died. Need to get a replacement. Ouch. I'm sorry to hear that, Jim F. My condolences there. We may be eating off the floor because of gravity. Well, that sounds like that an adventure in itself. There was still some of the original seasoning in deeper pockets. Oh, I see. You're talking about seasoning or cleaning up a cast iron pan. Don't burn that garlic. As far as I can tell, I did not burn the garlic. I just barely managed to get out of burning the garlic, but there was no whiff of any burnt garlic. I should probably taste a little bit of the sauce just to be absolutely sure. Num num num. Mm. Mm. Cream cheese, dill. And this is cool enough that I can do this without burning myself. And the spinach. Mm. Oh yeah, this has a nice taste to it. And I am not tasting anything burned. So we did manage to get out of out of this without burning the garlic, just barely. Here come the fire trucks. Chaos detector. Yes, indeed. That's that good old smoke detector again. Bad cooking issue equals smoke alarm. Well, gee, Amber, so far you've been really certainly trying to cut deep with those comments, haven't you? All right, there. That's the overcooked garlic alarm. That's probably what it was, Huggy Bear. That's for sure. Yeah, exactly, Amber. This guy is not professional. Yes, yes, Mr. Perkins, bitter as all. And yet, interestingly enough, Mr. Perkins, another wise remark. Okay, what is this with Amber here? Okay, a pinch of salt now and then will help evaporate the water now rather than later when it is plated. Field skillet is good looking. Well, yeah, yeah, I am glad that the field skillet has certainly held up. That's for sure. How do you make the cream cheese? Okay. Anyway, we all learn together. Well, I'm glad this group has given me lots of knowledge. I like to think I've learned a few things from these cooking video, from these live videos as well, because it's definitely been a learning experience quite a few times. Never say the words, "This is going to be easy." Yes, that's exactly what happens to me every time I see one of these videos and say, that looks easy. I should try it myself. And as a result, essentially, if there is any kind of a mistake that can be made, I will make it. Such as I forgot to mix the lemon in with the sauce, for instance, and simply had to put that directly onto the fish. There's one example for you. All right. Swordfish is, yeah, exactly. Swordfish is full of heavy metals, unfortunately. Well, no more so than tuna, and we're not dead, from it yet. That's for sure. Is that a Blacklock Lodge pan? This is a modern day field skillet. I do have a modern day Blacklock Lodge pan, which I use as a chef skillet. And nobody can positively identify what the Blacklock skillets look like because there are unfortunately no records left of the original Blacklock foundry. There are some estimates of what a Blacklock pan looked like, or at least a skillet, but unfortunately there are no absolutely definite examples of what the Blacklock skillets were like. I use a turkey fryer for that. Want something tasty? Make a bowl of mashed potatoes and stick some Philly cream cheese in it. Bake for 20 minutes to melt the cheese and then pig out. Oh, man. Oh, that's certainly tempting. That's for sure. Maybe the next time I make mashed potatoes, because I do, in fact, have a bag of russet potatoes that I do need to use up. And that's likely going to be done before this weekend. That's for sure. Well, mercy be. I'm hoping it turns out good. But we will certainly find out. We will all find out together, that's for sure. My brother caught a swordfish once. Cost a couple thousand to get it mounted, and he didn't get an ounce of meat. Ouch. Well, I guess if nothing else, it's a good trophy. A memorial to the experience. That's for sure. I was teasing him with my food. Crack that whip. Cream cheese and puffer fish. Well, as we found out, this is actually cream cheese and salmon. I don't think there are any professional cooks watching, I'm in a way I'm kind of glad about that because I can only imagine the roasting I would get from that. That's for sure. On the other hand, I am indeed open to honest criticism, and I have certainly said that. You cut off a hunk, you got a steak. Oh, okay. I guess you're talking about. I think the steak cut of it is called ribeye. Oh, I see. We're talking about prime rib here. And yes, actually, it's like if you got yourself a really, really thick prime rib, then that would be a prime rib roast. And if you cut it into steaks, then I understand that you might indeed be able to call it ribeye, or you might just simply be able to call it just that, a prime rib steak. Although I never see prime rib steak for sale at the supermarket, so you might be right. Maybe if they cut it up, that's where you get a ribeye from. I cook salmon on a cedar plank on my grill. That sounds like it would add flavor as well. Okay, what is going on now? Why am I getting all of these pop-ups here? Okay. Club I belonged to had a pig roast on Sunday. I made baked beans in their unmarked Wagner #8 Dutch oven. Ooh, that all sounds good. Hopefully you cooked them both the pig and the baked beans in the same pot. Saw a video of someone making an olive oil cake in a bundt pan. Olive oil cake, huh? Curious as to what that might be like. Oh, yeah, among other things, there's so many cakes that I'd like to make. Only once so far have I tried making Kentucky butter cake in a cast iron bundt pan because it's stuck. But there's always another time. All right. Having said all that, let's see if there's been any progress so far. I'm not sure. This is odd. Maybe I'm viewing it wrong. But even though it's been in the oven now for going on about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm not sure if we've had any progress yet. If we look here on the top. And the oven definitely says 375 as well. What's more, I can definitely feel the heat coming from here. But I think all we can do is be patient. So I'm not going to do something like raise the temperature. We will just hold tight, which is probably all we can do, I think. Nonetheless, let's get back to the field skillet here for you folks to look at. Beans are best in cast iron. I don't think I could keep my fingers out of that cream cheese pan. Yeah, I know the feeling as well. In fact, cream cheese?
Yes. You know I love my cream cheese.
It's cream cheese flavored with dill, as well as some garlic. All right. And spinach, too. All right. Did the olive oil change the flavor? Yeah, that's a good question. That's for sure. Big side of a T-bone is a ribeye, and the long side is a New York strip. So, in other words, then, if you take a tomahawk steak with all of the ribs sticking out, and you cut it into individual steaks, whether they're bone in or bone out, I would actually want to ask, would that be considered strip steak or would that be considered ribeye? Curious. Absolutely nobody. Well, okay. Thank you very much, Cynthia Wesley. I'm glad your football crowd likes the Boston baked beans. And that's about all I will say there. However, definitely I'm going to be making some more because the weather is starting to turn, and we may indeed be getting into baked beans weather. But yes, as I said, this is in fact this is the field cast iron skillet. I do have a couple of other modern day skillets, including one that does in fact have a glass smooth surface, and now seems like as good a time as any to bring it out, if nothing else, just for review. So let's do that. All right. 2019 0610. Okay, yeah. I'm actually surprised to say that I've had this for 5 years now, but here it is. This, of course, is the Stargazer 10-inch cast iron skillet, which does indeed, or did originally, have a glass smooth cooking surface, and it took a long time to get some decent seasoning on it. But nonetheless, after a while, I was finally able to manage to get some seasoning on. And I do make sure to try cooking with it in order to keep the seasoning up. I think, in fact, it's the Stargazer's turn to be refreshed probably later this weekend. But again, when you were talking about when they're talking about a glass smooth surface, this certainly did have one. Although I'm saying did in the past tense, because now it has a coating of seasoning on it. And I think you can even see the streaks from that. Even so, I mean, I certainly don't have any problem cooking with this, and I definitely enjoy using the Stargazer pan. Given a choice, I am not going to be giving up either of these pans, fortunately, but should the circumstance arise, I would probably keep the Stargazer first. Hopefully, there will never come a time where I will actually have to make a choice between the two, other than what I'm going to cook with tonight when I ended up choosing the field skillet. Just J. Louis Hawaiian smash burgers in my gazer. Nice. And Corey Clark, I joined a new Lancaster group. How many pieces of cast iron do you have? Asks Brody YYC. And I have not taken an exact inventory. I would hazard a guess of somewhere more than 100 pieces. That's a guess, considering all of my skillets and Dutch ovens and lids and everything. I'm not sure if that even includes the trivets and the ashtray skillets, but nonetheless, I would wildly guess that it's almost certainly over 100 pieces. So I'm nowhere near at the level of some of those folks who have 300, 500, 1,000, 2,000 pieces of cast iron. I'm not at that point, and hopefully I will never be at that point, because I'm having enough time rotating through my collection as it is. I mean, I have said many times that I want all my pieces to be users rather than display pieces. And that's probably one of the big reasons why I set up this YouTube channel in the first place, so that I can rotate through my cast iron collection and get as much use as possible out of as many of my cast iron pans as possible. Mouse and House have to watch later. Well, we will certainly see you later, Wyoming Yeti, that's for sure. I had like 10 and thought it was a ton, and it certainly is a ton, actually. There's no reason to doubt that. Oh, I just turned off the light. Well, let me see now. Let me double check here. I'm curious. Okay, good. Yes. In fact, we are starting to get some browning on this. So, as I said, all I have to do is just be patient. I think it's been in the oven for almost 20 minutes now. So I'd say probably within about another 10 minutes or so, we're actually going to have some decent browning on it, because the edges are just beginning to brown on this big, thick hunk of puff pastry. It's hard to see, especially since, unfortunately, my oven door is not as clean as it used to be, and that definitely means I do need to do some cleaning on that. Nonetheless, I can see, especially in the back, the corners are definitely starting to brown up. So we are indeed making progress. Of course, as I mentioned, once it comes out of the oven, I'm also going to check the temperature just to be sure. Talking about staying on these shows, trying new stuff, but still be chewing. We country never had a burger with pineapple. Well, my mantra that I really like to follow is that if I find myself saying I've never done this before, then I have to do it. And that has really gotten me to try a lot of interesting dishes, quite a few of which I've really enjoyed. A couple have been absolutely outstanding and blew me away. I mean, it was because of that I tried Vietnamese pho. It was because of that I tried French coq au vin, and even Cincinnati chili, or for that matter, South Carolina barbecue hash. So yeah, all of those things are reasons why I really do enjoy trying new things, whether it's new foods, new recipes, or anything like that. And in fact, here's a suggestion for you: peanut butter burgers. Try smearing a whole bunch of peanut butter on your burger and see what you think. What you think. At which point, then folks would say, "What are you talking about? Peanut butter on a hamburger?" Let's stop and think for a moment. How many people have eaten Thai food from Thailand? How many Thai foods use a peanut sauce? So when you consider that, just imagine a burger topped with Thai peanut sauce and see what you might think there. I'll try anything once. Shit, I did, and they are hooked. Oh, hmm. Oh, I see. You're talking about Cynthia Wesley. You're talking about the burgers with pineapple. Well, why not? I mean, after all, we have pickles on our burgers all the time. Who knows? My basement, in my cabin shop, and under my bed. Oh, yeah. We're talking about where do we store our cast iron. Well, I'm pleased at least that I have 4 racks set up, 3 in the living room and 1 in the kitchen, especially for my cast iron. I think I can probably even carefully, don't want to ruin this connection. As you can see in the background here, over there is the rack that I keep in the kitchen. And that has most of my enameled cast iron on it, as well as a number of baking pans. You've seen my big rack out in the living room quite a few times, but I really have not done much of a focus on the rack that I keep in the kitchen. And I'm actually quite happy that I have the room in my home to be able to display my cast iron on racks like this. In my basement, in my cabin, my shop, and under my head, is that a wood shop? Oh, I see. All right, and what else does it say here? Stop counting. Oh, I see. Larry Perkins. Yeah, exactly. You know, that's where the saying comes from that if you hide cast iron in your truck for a month so that your wife doesn't see it, then you might have cast ironitis. If one of your greatest fears is that after you pass on, your wife will sell your cast iron collection for what you told her you paid for it, you might have cast ironitis. Love Thai food. Yeah, the Thai food I do enjoy, especially the ones with a lot of peanuts in them and water chestnuts as well. I find I mean, even though water chestnuts don't have much of a flavor, they've got a nice consistency, and I like the crunch that comes. Well, I don't know if crunch is the right word, but it definitely, you're eating a water chestnut. Joie de, joie de vivre. I can't even pronounce it. Joie de. Ugh, what's wrong with me? Joie de vivre. And yes, and as well, nice to see you here as well. Nine, epopte, I can't pronounce that. Honey pot. I love the mouthfeel of water chestnuts. Yeah, they feel good in your mouth, even if there isn't really much of a taste to them. I have had peanut butter on pancakes. Does that make them Thai cakes? Maybe. I mean, Thai peanut sauce, as you know, has a bit of a spice to it too. And I'm not sure how well Thai peanut sauce would go on pancakes. A sweet peanut sauce would probably go great on pancakes, actually. And I like your idea of having peanut butter on pancakes, and I may very well try that the next time I make pancakes. Unfortunately, I carry a list of cast iron I want. Yeah, I know. I keep my list in my head as well. And I have to tell myself when I go out browsing, which I do all too often, through the antique malls and the yard sales and the flea markets, that I have to keep telling myself I really don't need any more skillets. Don't need any more cast iron skillets. Does that keep me from buying skillets? No. But that's what I tell myself nonetheless. As it stands right now, over in one corner of the living room, I've got my give it away pile, in fact, of extra cast iron. There's no way I can get away with calling him. Oh, yeah. There's no way I can get away with calling him a set of one. When I'm gone, my cast ironitis becomes my son's problem. Exactly. All right, let's check this out once again. And hey, we are finally starting to get some browning on the top here. Bring this down here. I know it's still a little hard to see, but nonetheless, this is definitely actually starting to brown. Based on this, I could probably even start checking the temperature. I'd say maybe in about another 5 to 10 minutes at the very latest, which is good because that's about the time when I think we'll be wrapping up. So far, so good. I was worried at first because this dish was so simple whether I might have it done, whether I might have it done far too early, but it looks like at this rate it's going to be done just in time. In fact, I should probably even consider cleaning up my mess even as I'm talking here, because I've got things like extra sheets and the box from the puff pastry, as well as the extra dill and capers as well that I should probably put away. They are all right here. In fact, I'm going to move this back again so that I can reach the fridge. I keep forgetting how spicy capers are. Nonetheless, actually, let me show you this as well. You remember that sourdough starter I was talking about? I've had it in the fridge now for the past few days, and I think it's actually looking not bad at all. So that means, of course, when I feed it this weekend, I'm just going to have to make something else with it. That's kind of like that's like the curse of baking. Even so, it's not looking too badly. All right, let's move to the side again so that you can see all of these pans here on the stove. I throw away this box from the cream cheese, this wrapper from the cream cheese, and I put this little bit of butter, extra cream cheese, and the last remaining bit of spinach back into the fridge. Because that way, if nothing else, I can always make the spinach with breakfast tomorrow. I love spinach and would not have a problem with that. That's starting to sound like a plan. Potatoes and spinach, in fact.